Hey everyone, I'm Kustom, the cross-stitching runner, and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers, and if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross-stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in, and today is the 14th of February, so for anyone who chooses to celebrate this day, I hope that you have a wonderful day and that you enjoy it. Yeah. I feel like I'm coming down with a cold, so I know that my energy levels just aren't going to be quite there for today's episode. I am keen to still film and share with you my progress on the last couple of weeks though, because the February for me is fairy tales and freaky things, and I'm very much keen to share with you my interpretation of that. So there are a couple of pieces that I'll be sharing that don't quite fit within the fairy tales and freaky things theme. So that's okay, because I know that I've mentioned a few times in recent episodes that I have some goals with these particular pieces to have them finished by April and maybe June this year, depending on how life goes and other pieces go as well. So, with all of that said and done, the first piece that I have to share with you is called Midnight Glow. And as I've mentioned, this is one of the pieces that I do want to get finished this year, ideally by about June or so, if I can stick to my schedule a bit. Now, this is where I'm up to so far. It is being stitched on 14 count Ada, and we see a bit of a thread hanging down. That's where my focus has been in terms of that particular spot. And I've spent a few days intermittently working on this piece. I know that I've been watching predominantly a TV series called McLeod's Daughters. It's an Aussie show that was on air several years ago, and on Netflix I also watched an episode of a mini series called Polo, as in like the horseback game of polo, and that was interesting. I probably won't keep watching it. It has very much a similar theme to it for what I think was on Netflix as well, a series about the Formula One drivers and behind the scenes perspective of the teams and what it is for the managers to then try and make sure the teams are still successful and all the jazz that goes with it. So that was an interesting insight. But that said, I really don't have. I know I'm about to say the usual thing that a lot of us cross stitchers say. I don't have that much to go. It shouldn't take me too long to finish it. And this is where we really should play some kind of special bingo game of the different sayings that we come across. And similar to what some stitchers are doing, where they will stitch a project associated with a particular floss tuber. If people want to create a game where we come up with a board of the different sayings all of us stitchers have, I think we'll have a winner there as well. So yeah, this piece will be good to have finished, because it'll mean that I get to start another cross stitch piece, because really I don't need any more excuses to start pieces, surely. Okay, so the next piece that I actually have to share with you does fit within the theme of fairy tales and freaky things, and I just need to pause so I can bring up the cover page for you. So the piece that fits within the fairy tales and freaky things component is Headless Horseman by Unconventional cross stitch, and I am trying to avoid glare, but it's just not going to work very well here. Okay, that is a really poor blurry version of what the piece will look like when it's done. And this is where I'm up to so far. I'm stitching this 1/1 on the 25 count easy grid fabric. I have put 150 stitches into this because I only worked on it last night, and I worked on it when we were watching a bit of the Winter Olympics, and I think it might have been some of the news and other bits and bobs that were on TV. And I've started in the center of this piece just so I can focus on some of the fun stuff for this piece and start to see it come to life. So some of the grey area that we're seeing is the breastplate of the horse. So I'll just see if I can zoom in a bit, and hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit of what I'm trying to talk about without the glare, and the glare is just not being my friend. Hopefully you can see a bit where that's it. So the breastplate that you see on a horse, that's the area that I'm stitching at the moment. And then a part of the dark area going up, that would be a part of the neck of the horse. And yeah, it's coming along pretty good so far. I'm happy with how it is. And what I also love is that the 310 that I'm using at the moment, I don't believe it's the DMC brand. I believe that it's a black that had been part of a kit that I had finished stitching years ago. It might have been the Bothy Threads kit for the dog dictionary. Yes, here we are. So this piece, a dictionary of dogs, this was the Bothy Threads kit, and I had a heap of black left over from that piece, and that's where the 310 might have come from that, or I think I had just a spare skein of black floating around. I was just trying to neaten up some of my stash. Anyway, the point though is that it's just a little bit thicker, especially just even the single strands, and doing those individual stitches, especially for the full cross. I am loving the coverage that I get with that. So I may be converting over to Anchor 310 once I run out of my DMC 310. We'll wait and see on that one. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you is not part of the freaky February stitching, is the Blackneedle Society's I Am a Custodian. I have the aim of finishing this by April because the second box for the stitching event is coming up, and I'm really want to do my best to get this finished, and I trust that I will. So I'm stitching this on 32 count misdyed fabric by Paddock Lane Designs. It may even be 36. I don't fully remember. This is definitely the first time in a very long time, if ever, that I've stitched on 32 or 36 count fabric. I'm enjoying it. I'm stitching it 2/2. This fabric is nice and soft. Lisa has done a fantastic job with the fabric choice in terms of it being really nice, soft fabric. And I have been focusing mostly near the center where we see the light coloured windows, and I've been stitching this when I've been watching the Bridgerton episode. So I'm currently on season 4, and I may be on the 3rd episode. I've been trying to pace myself a bit because I know that once I watch the 4th episode, I'm going to have to wait X amount of time before the remaining episodes are released. And that's where I probably could go back to the start and watch season 1 through to season 4 so I can keep getting my fix. We'll wait and see. But I think at the moment I'm doing okay. I could even start rewatching not Bridgerton, just been talking about it. Downton Abbey. I could start watching that again. I know that we've got the box set down at Willowall Bay, and we are actually going to be traveling there in a couple of weeks' time, which I'm looking forward to, because as much as I'm loving being able to work full time at the moment, it has disrupted our ability to head down to the coast, and it's a luxury. I know I shouldn't be grumbling about it because I do feel blessed that I have the ability to do so. The awkwardness is that my partner's not working at the moment, so he is keeping himself productive and learning and doing different things, which I'm super proud of him for. I love hearing about what he's doing right now, and I do feel bad that he's not fishing as much as what he used to. I do feel bad about that, and that's why I'm looking forward to us heading down to the coast. So hopefully he doesn't bash himself up too much next time. I'll talk about that later. The next thing that I have to share with you, though, is I need to find the cover page. So the next piece that I've put some work into, and the zooming in and out for this tablet is because of where my thumbs are. Okay, so it's called Moonlit Waters Max Colours, artwork by Julie Fain, I guess charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I, again, have been fangirling about this fabric, 310 black, whatever it is, and I love that I've been able to get a bit more progress done on this fairy. We can actually see her taking a bit more shape and it not just being about her wings. So I'm stitching this 1/1 on the, let's just call this 25 count fabric. It could be 28. I really don't remember. I have been very slowly working on this piece off and on for way too long. And I don't remember. I might have been watching Supernatural. I might have been watching the Olympics. There might have been a few different shows that I've been watching while working on this over the last few days. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. The next piece, though, that I have to share with you is one that is actually a combo. It is a combination of a quote and a picture that I had come across on the internet. So this actually isn't like for sale or anything like that. And if I can press the right buttons, life will be good. There we are. So this is roughly what it will look like when it's done. It will be modified a bit because my brain was initially thinking, yes, we'll stitch this 2/2 because of other projects I'd been working on when I first started it. And I then realised that I had charted it as 1/1. So I've been, for context, been focusing on, if I can get this around the right way, focusing where we see a bit of the fin of the blue fish near where you start to see a little bit of the words. And the quote is Pisces. If I can remember the right words. Okay, Pisces. Not everyone gets the same version of me. A person will, is it a person? One person will tell you I'm a beautiful soul. Another will tell you I'm a cold-hearted arsehole. Believe both. I act accordingly. And for people who have been with me for a while, I apologise for this background story. It is relevant, though. It is relevant. So I know that I felt mixed about the quote, and I've felt mixed about whether or not I should be happy with the quote or not. I'm owning it. I'm loving it. It's a case where I don't choose to be fake around people. I can't do that. It is not within me. I wear my heart on my sleeve, so to speak, and it has gotten me into trouble sometimes for not having that filter or that poker face on my face. And there are times when I can put that poker face on, and it then ends up not being great afterwards, the aftermath of trying to deal with having a poker face. So to help put into context, my ego, sorry, there's a plane flying out. We don't often have small planes flying around here near Canberra. So when we do see planes like the smallish aircraft flying past, it's like, what's going on? So ego. My ego has been flaring badly recently at work. I won't go into details, but the ego flaring up has just reminded me that I still have a bit of work to do, and it's the work I need to do has a lot to do with my self-talk, in the sense that I'm still trying to remind myself that I am worthy, I belong, I create my own safe space, and that I don't need to rely upon external factors to feel seen and heard, because I'm enough. I am enough. So that's a bit of why I've always felt a bit funny with the Pisces quote. And it's like, hang on, no, I just need to own it. And I had chosen it for a reason, because there are days where it's like, yeah, I'm feeling good, and that there are some people that I can be just my genuine full weird self around, but there are others where I feel a bit more reserved around. And if I pick up on a certain type of energy where it seems like they might even be in a funky headspace or something, somehow I pick up on that and I will match that energy. And if that comes across as me being some kind of arsehole or whatever, then so be it. It's something where people don't like seeing that reflection of themselves, and they then project and go, hang on, no, I'm not this, I'm not that, you're being that. So that's just a bit of something where I'm glad that we are coming up to the end of the year of the snake. I don't often follow closely the meanings behind Chinese zodiac or that side of things. I've grown up with knowing a little bit about the Western astrology component, and it's been certain channels that I've seen on social media and talking with some friends who are very much in the realm of astrology, mediumship and such, that I find fascinating. And learning a bit more about that has helped me to understand that this ego thing that's flaring up at the moment, that's just reminding me that that's something I need to shed, that I need to work on a bit and still do the positive self-talk with that. And that will help me with moving into the next stage, because around the 17th or so of February, we've got the new moon coming up. And I do try to use a bit of that energy for my own personal life and make improvements where I can. And yeah, it's just something within my own bit of life that I find interesting and that I'm trying to work on a bit. So here's hoping, or here is to continuing to do self-improvement for the positive, for the good. Thank you for bearing with me on that particular sidetrack. Let's get back into the stitching, because I do have at least 2 more pieces to share with you, and then I also have a fully finished thing as well. So the next piece that I have to share with you is a piece called Trick or Treat 2, and it's designed by Randall Spangler, or based on artwork rather, by Randall Spangler, and it has been charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And this is roughly what it will look like when it's done. Now, I was recently watching tip of the tongue, Steph from Total Stitch Show, or something very similar to that wording. I've loved that she's back filming Flosstubes and that. I feel like she's my kindred spirit in terms of the energies that her and I bring to the Flosstube world, and I always enjoy watching her videos. And she's stitching this as well. I also know that Full Coverage Fanatics lady, again, my brain is forgetting names. She's stitching on this as well. She's taking a very different approach to this one as well, which I love seeing as well. So whenever I see Steph and a name I can't think of, I love watching both their videos, and it helps to get me back into that motivation of the stitching of this piece. And this is where I'm up to so far. I'm stitching this on, I think it's 18, maybe 16 count pink Aida, and this particular piece will look different to the Heaven and Earth Designs piece. I mean, aside from the obvious of it being stitched on the 18 count fabric and everything, this piece was almost a UFO, and it went into the naughty corner for quite some time, until I decided how I was going to approach this and change my headspace for it as well. So my focus in recent days has been the moon and the chimney. I've been watching The Good Witch for this, most of the stitching for the moon and the chimney. I'm up to season 5. I think it might be, I'm about to start the last episode of season 5, and I have the aim of trying to find season 6 of The Good Witch on YouTube, because as part of me going down the rabbit hole of finding out more about the TV show and all the jazz that goes with it, I found that there actually is a season 6. Netflix just doesn't have it. So it's all going to be okay. It'll be good. I haven't kept count of how many stitches I've put into that. I do know that each episode of The Good Witch goes for about 45 minutes, give or take, and there's a few hundred stitches in there. It's all good. Now, the very last piece that I've actually done some stitching on is called His Master's Voice Mini, based on artwork by Lisa Parker. And again, it's a Heaven and Earth design piece. And let's try and get this to focus again. Okay, this is just blurred. It is what it is. So I've been again focusing mostly on just the black stitching. I have put a few hundred stitches into this over a few days, mostly doing a bit of tent stitch on the side over here, because that's where I've decided the background is going to get stitched in tent stitch just to make it quick, because there are thousands upon thousands of 310 in this. And to help put into perspective, there are 34,902 stitches that need to be done in 310 for His Master's Voice Mini. That's a lot. So that's where predominantly it is the background and tent stitch. It'll be all good. Using all the called full colours. The texture of it will look weird in places, because for some areas I'm doing 2/1 full cross. I think some of the background might be 2/1 tint. Then there's also a little bit when I've done, again, part of me testing things out, 2/1 full cross. And again, this is just part of me testing things out, and it's all good. Now, the next thing that I have to share with you feeds into a little bit of my plans for the next day or so. It is the fact that tomorrow, being the 15th, I will be dropping off my entry to the Canberra Royal Show. And this is the fully finish of Under the Sea. Now, again, glare, I'm sorry. This is a custom frame that I purchased online, and the glare is coming from this special UV resistant kind of perspex that I've got on the front, and I was feeling a bit hesitant about my colour choices, especially for the matte board, and how well that might go with the fabric and how it might complement it. But I think it's actually worked out really, really well. Now, I'm going to come back this way. So this, for anyone who knows how about framing and all the jazz that goes with it, I'm going to get pinged by the judges, because where you see the submarine, I'm not happy about it. It's a bit too tight. That is my mistake. I'm fully owning it. It has a lot to do with the framing, obviously, but the measurements that I gave the people who made this awesome frame. I was remembering some feedback that I had received for Dewdrop Daisy last year by the judges, and I had remembered that they said something about the fabric shouldn't be showing through with the framing for full coverage pieces. And in terms of this particular piece, whilst it's not full coverage, there's elements where I'd like to see there probably should be a little bit more space near the tail of the submarine. It is what it is. It's my mistake. It's part of the learning curve. And the other thing also with Under the Sea is that I have selected to say that it is available for sale for $75 at the Canberra show. And hey, if it gets sold, yay for me. If not, that's okay. To an extent, I'm okay with hanging onto it, and with the aesthetics of this house, it could work well. And it might go down to the coast if it doesn't stay here. My door swapsy. Where Dewdrop Daisy might come back up here, and Under the Sea may go to the coast. I kind of hope it gets sold, because I know the mistake is so ingrained in my brain at the moment. Whenever I look at it, yeah, okay, it is what it is. I could reframe it, but I don't want to. The framing process for Under the Sea took longer than I would have liked. With that said, I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you so much for spending a bit of time with me and the stitching that I've been able to share with you. We've got a couple more weeks of February. I look forward to sharing with you again the remaining amount of stitching that I have to do for the month of Fairytales and Freaky Things. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, ring the bell with the notifications so you get them when I next release video, and happy stitching.